So here we have the new Terminator 4K getting a 3.75 out of 5 over on Blu-ray.com. Why? Because it appears to have AI enhancement. Even though, and this is the best part, even though it still looks great according to the reviewer. And of course, the usual suspects are over on Blu-ray.com just ranting and raving about this release, how horrible it is. I mean, give it a fucking rest, dude. There are legitimately bad releases out there, but this ain't one of them. Anyway, let's get into the review. And you can see here the level of detail is amazing. And I think this is an example of just how good this AI upscaling has gotten. And eventually you're not going to be able to tell the difference between this and a new 4K scan. It also looks like they've gone back and done some more cleanup. I couldn't find any specks or dirt anywhere. It looks immaculate. As far as the detail level compared to the remastered Blu-ray, if you have good upscaling capability within your setup, the remastered Blu-ray is still going to look very good, but the 4K does excel within a lot of the close-ups, and the bigger the display you have, the more benefit you're going to notice. And in some scenes like this one, you can see where the detail is being brought out, like in the name tag here. And I know some people are going to say that's artificial detail created by AI, but I'm not going to deny that it looks great. Alright, let's look at what HDR has to offer. You'll notice that a lot of it stays within SDR levels, but don't let that fool you, because the average picture level is what's brighter overall. If you look at the graph, the majority of the picture tends to hover around 100 nits, whereas SDR is going to peak and clip over 100 nits. Most people should have no problem viewing this in a well-lit room. That said, and perhaps the only real problem I have with this release is the blown highlights, which unfortunately is a byproduct of doing a 4K upscale versus going back and doing a new 4K scan to capture more dynamic range. As I've come to expect, Dolby Vision provided deeper black levels than HDR10, though this may vary depending on your display. And this movie does have those nice dark inky black levels compared to what you see nowadays where it's a low contrast gray. The color grade is nearly identical to the remastered Blu-ray. As you can see here, this one rarely takes advantage of wide color gamut. There are a few areas that exceed Rec. 709, but even then they barely touch P3. Here's one example where more of the wide color gamut is used. The trademark glowing eye does use P3, but virtually everything else from explosions to neon lighting pretty much falls into Rec. 709. So the good news in that regard is that most everyone is going to be able to display this one accurately because most modern TVs can cover Rec. 709 fairly easily. So is it worth the upgrade? Honestly, although I do think it looks great, there's still plenty of reasons not to upgrade, at least not right away. As mentioned, if you have good or even great upscaling capability with your setup, the remastered Blu-ray still exhibits great detail and the color grade is basically the same. Also, as much as I like Dolby Atmos soundtracks, I don't think this is a must-have Dolby Atmos soundtrack over the 5.1 from the Blu-ray. It does have its moments, but it's nowhere near T2, which would probably sound amazing in Dolby Atmos. There are no new extras to speak of either, which is very inconsistent with the most recent James Cameron 4K releases. Having said all that, if you're interested, you should definitely keep an eye out for a price drop.